Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, who's the intolerant and who is the Nazi? Let's see. This article comes from Sputnik and it's from today, the 21st of October 2022. This is the title. Ukraine's national security head calls for abolishing Russian language in the country. Let's see. Ukrainian National Security and Defense Council head Oleksiy Danilov said on Friday that the Russian language should be completely abolished in Ukraine, noting that reaching an understanding with the Russian-speaking part of Ukrainian population poses a threat to the state. And I'm quoting Danilov. The Russian language in general should disappear from our territory as an element of hostile propaganda and brainwashing of our population, Danilov said on a national talk show. So, if you want to really see how this will sound, let's say you are a Spanish-speaking person in the United States, and the US government would say that exactly what over here. And it's not the same thing, just so you know. Because over there they have a national language, and there are languages that are recognized, that the minorities can speak and have school in their language, the news in their language, native language, and so on. Now imagine that someone comes and say, no, Spanish should not be even whatever, because we don't like the policy of let's say Mexico or Spain or some other country in South America. How would that sound? So I think it sounds exactly like a very discriminatory and very Nazi-like. So Danilov claimed that the narrative, and it's in quotation narrative, about the need to reach mutual understanding with Russian-speaking Ukrainians is highly dangerous for the state. At the same time, the official called for the compulsory study of English in the country in addition to Ukrainian language. Well, I don't know if compulsory or not, but I tell you how it was when I was a kid. In school, in the 5th grade, you had to start learning either French or English, usually French. Before it was in 2nd grade, you started learning French. And then English, and then some countries, some schools had German. You couldn't go around it. Before it was Russian, when it was a little bit, the Russian troops were here and so on in the 60s and 50s actually. So, but that was then, and it was not like a compulsory. I mean, you couldn't pick, you had to do it. And I'm good with that because I learned French, I learned English, I learned German, so I'm good. It says, to plant these Russian narratives here is a very, very dangerous thing, I'm quoting. Presumably, we have to understand each other, who they are, what they are. Look, we don't need anything from them. Let them get rid of us, let them go to their swamps and croak Russian language. Danilov said. Well, that's not very tolerant, is it? So he doesn't want to have anything to do with those guys and so on. Like what's his name? Zelensky said, whoever feels Russia or has Russian feelings should move to Russia. Imagine, let's say you are a Jewish American, and you have dual citizenship as Israeli citizenship and American citizenship, and U.S. citizenship. And someone will say, well, you have Israeli citizenship. That means you swore allegiance to the Israeli state. You should go there. How would you look about this statement? I think that's really, anti, and not only that's anti, because if someone says that word, someone has dual citizenship, it doesn't mean that he's anti that country or that person. He's just dumb. I mean, that's what it is. On the other hand, I understand perfectly that if you come to a country, your full allegiance should be for that country, to that country. If you are a citizen of that country, I'm on that side. I mean, you can't have what if, let's say, Israel gets in a fight with the United States? What are those guys going to do? You know what I mean? They say, oh, it's not about that. It's easier to travel or something. That's fine. But look at this guy, what he says. Danilov complained about a larger number of Ukrainian political experts who regularly appear on television using Russian as the main language. In response to this, the show host proposed to create and broadcast a list of Ukrainian public figures that speak Russian. Based on the 2001 census, over 14.3 million Ukrainians, or almost 30% of the country's population, called Russian their native language. Since the Maidan coup in 2014, Kiev has adopted a number of policies aimed at regulating and limiting the use of the Russian language on TV and the public places, including in education and service sector. The discrimination of the Russian-speaking population led to a civil war in Ukraine, which resulted in Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics declaring their independence and finally appealing to Russia for help in defending themselves against Ukrainian aggression in late February. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin said on October 14 that the very question of the abolition of the Ukrainian language in Russia is illegal, since it is one of the state languages in the Russian federal subject of Crimea. So Putin is more moderate than Danilov. Oh, we can say we knew that, but the mass media portrays it the other way around. I don't think that what Danilov is doing is right at all. Now I gotta tell you from direct experience, a Ukrainian here and a Russian here, they understand one another like you almost understand me with my blah, 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 okay? The way I speak English is not really like that. They're a little bit further, but they will not have a problem communicating. No problem at all. I know that because I know that, okay? I am not going to give you more information on that. But it's just the accent and some words that are, are used. What else can I tell you? Yeah, I think that would be a bad policy. And it shows, it could show the real face of these guys. Or at least this guy, Danilov. I had no doubt that there are some other ones over there who feel the same way about the Russian language. Remember, these guys don't like one another. That's a long history between the Ukrainians and the Russians, as it is between the Russians and the Poles and this and that. And it is as it is over there. But and besides, a Ukrainian would be able to communicate in Ukrainian with Poles, with Serbs, with Bulgarians, with Slovaks, with Czechs a little bit further. I know that for a fact, okay? Direct experience, let's put it this way. Direct witness on the exchange. So, as I said, maybe some other time, sometime in the future when I get attacked, I will provide some defense for myself. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.